This is episode 216 of the Super League Pod, otherwise known as the one where Mark got a cold. But we power through to bring you stats, news, fan reviews and more. We go deep into expansion, relegation and call out crisis after crisis after crisis, be it on-field, off-field or injury-related, curse that jungle jinx. Settle down with a Lemsip and some Strepsils. I know I need to. It's SLP time. Hello listeners, it's episode 216 of the Super League Pod. This is Mark here, your regular host. A little bit different this week. We're joined in the kitchen at SLP Studios by Dom Hodgson.
Hello everybody. And can I just say, I was listening to last week's episode and the way you did your intro, I was like, it's got a bit of a sexy voice this time. When you start your intros, you do have quite a deep hello, welcome to SLP, and then you quite quickly went back into your nasally, like, why do you Wigan have won? Again. But like your intros.
Why the fuck did I let you come round to my house?
If you just kept that up, like,
just made tea for you. This is bollocks.
Like, I'm just saying, listeners, get in touch if you think that his intros, if you just keep that voice for the rest of this episode.
I don't think I could. Like, the intros would take a lot of prep and build up and sort of thing. It's not quite the same. But welcome along, Dom. It's not your first time on SLP, but it's your first time on SLP in 2019.
Yes.
Let's remind the listeners a little bit about yourself. Who do you support? What's your rugby league legacy?
I support the St Helens.
Bollocks.
No, I support the former champions, Leeds Rhinos. I am from Leeds myself. I'm also one of the sponsors, so that's how you get a gig on this with Little Warden. And that's about it.
Well, talking of sponsors, do you want to read out this week's episode sponsor?
Yep. This is episode 216 is sponsored by Rob's Toy Shop. Find a wide range of bargain toys, gifts, rugby league merchandise that never turns up, and more at Rob. I'm only joking, Rob. He sent me something that never arrived, but all the orders are fulfilled.
To be fair, you didn't pay for that.
No, I didn't. No. Visit stores.ebay/Rob's Toy Shop. On any orders over £5, you earn 5% cash back, and also 20% of your order value will go to the SLP coffers by putting SLP discount 20 at the checkout.
Asterisk. I'll correct that if you listen to the end of the show. But support our sponsors, Rob's Toy Shop, and you also help support SLP whilst doing so. This week's show, we've got as much feedback in the intro section as we've had on any episode so far this year, so we're going to see how we get along with that when we're playing for time. There's more bad news out of my club Wigan to chew over, so that's I'm sure everyone's thrilled waiting to hear me talk about Gabriel Hamlin. Then we've got fan reviews from all Super League games in round 9 to go through, which is very exciting. More than one for every game. More than one from the same person on some games, but we'll work through that.
I wonder which game that is.
We'll work through that as we go, but we're going to start with a bit of feedback on some of the points from last week, as soon as you admitted to listening to last week's show.
I did, yes.
The first topic was something me and Tim talked about last week, and Mark at Wilco2205 got in touch. He said, just a thought about the Chris Kendall discussion. Say it's near the end of the season and we're in the running for the top 5 or relegation. Do you rule him out of reffing the teams we're competing with as well? Seems like a can of worms. This comes off the back of, obviously, we were talking about Chris Kendall
playing for was it Academy?
Yeah, he was in the Huddersfield Giants Academy a while ago, and people question whether that makes him biased towards the Huddersfield Giants or otherwise. And I said at the time, kind of, it's ridiculous. If he's a referee, we should trust that he can referee any game fairly, and also these sorts of cans of worms.
Massively.
Which is, yeah.
It's you are not going to get a rugby league referee that doesn't support a side, that hasn't been a part, because how else are you going to get into the sport?
Well, you might get them that don't support sides now, and they all don't, I would suggest.
Yeah. Or there might be a League One sites, or but the point of being a referee is you've gone through all the training of you're there for the on-field decision.
Yeah. And I don't think there's anything, whilst we can talk ad infinitum about incompetence, I don't think there's anything that suggests bias in any of our match officials.
There's a difference between incompetence and malice.
Yeah.
that I don't look. I like Chris. I like him on Twitter. There's some. I don't agree with every decision he made, but I'm a fan. I am not going to do. I blame the fact that he might support another team? No.
I don't even believe he did support the team. He just was in their academy. But it doesn't matter one way or another, does it? Let's face it. Like you say, what we're going to do, we're going to have to find people who were refereeing a totally different sport in a totally different country to then bring over to be impartial. It just wouldn't exist. The thing I always say when we're talking about referees is we, the fans, are far more biased. Massively. In fact, the only biased people in the stadium are the fans. The referees, the match officials, are not biased whatsoever in any way, shape or form. And anything that we put on them... Why do we as fans think every single referee is out to get our team? Because we're biased, not because every single referee is biased against every single team. I
mean, so I'm in one of the Leeds Rhinos Facebook groups, and literally every week when they announce the refs, it's like, oh shit, this guy hates us. I'm like, every single week, it doesn't matter who the ref is, there's a post that says that. Like, which ref do you want out of the ones that we've got? Because we've got like 5 or 6 really that are on rotation now.
Yeah, and I'm on a Wigan fan groups, Wigan fan pages, exactly the same, and I'm pretty sure everyone listening to this will have the same experience of that. Okay, so I agree with Mark. Let's just put that to bed. He's a good referee who's fair, if not always right. Frogmore at Wally Frogmore said, How the people who wear pink skins aren't called Pink Panthers, I'll never know. Super League Pod, you can have that one for free.
I quite like that one. We'll give him that.
Yeah. It reminded me of Emma's got a friend who lives just near Milton Keynes, and on the outskirts of Milton Keynes there's a gay nightclub called Pink Panthers, but obviously...
Tell me more about your experiences at the Pink Panthers, Mark.
I've never been to Pink Panthers, but it reminded me of that, and it's a chuckle at.
It's a safe space, mate. You can be honest. It's a safe space.
Well, I was never around long enough to go there, but there you go. Yeah. So that's what they shall now be known as, the Pink Panthers. And Frogmore, we will not give you credit. We will steal that joke for our own.
That'll be the show title.
Genghis Campbell, our friend in the
Are you reading all these, or are we going to alternate? How's it going?
Yeah, you can read this one if you want.
Just checking.
Our friend from over the pond, Genghis. What's he been saying?
Seeing as anyone can be anyone and everyone in crisis at Super League Pod, what would be the narrowest point range between top and bottom in the Super League era? I ask this because I can ask you, as the Wikipedia font of all knowledge. I have no idea who's getting relegated this year. It's Leeds.
Well, that deserves a little bit more of a conversation. We're nearly a third of the way through the season.
Yep.
In fact, we are a third of the way through the season. It's good ass. So that deserves more of a conversation. Who's going down? But you wanted to get involved here, so I'm assuming you got an answer to Genghis's question there.
No, I wanted
the smallest winning margin.
I wanted to ask you. That was the point.
Okay. So obviously the Super League season has been lots of different makeups in its time. We've never actually had a Super League season to mind that I can think of that had 29 game regular season, which is what we got this year.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no like for like comparison. But one of the games in the Super 8s era had a 22-point difference between first and last at the split, so after 23 rounds. So you would imagine by 30 rounds that would have spread to be around about the 32-point margin that most seasons have ended up with, a gap between top and bottom, somewhere between 30 and 35 points. But in 2007, it was 25 points.
I just want to let the listeners point out that he's not written any of this down. He's literally... I mean, he could be just be making it up.
No, I've researched it.
Feel free to wiki... Yeah, but the fact that you remembered it, from researching...
Yeah, it's a useless skill that I've got,
and he's married. He's not alone. He's got a wife.
25... And she's pretty. 25 points. 25 points is the gap. That was in 2007 over a 27-game season. We talked a little bit earlier on in the season about what points Tally London would need to get to stay up, and we said 14 or 16 points. I'd still say 14 points would be borderline. 20 points you're safe. No one's ever been bottom of the table with 20 points. If we're talking about then who's going to get relegated this year. Let's have a little bit of a chat. Let's go through the
before this. Let's talk about. So it is a season at the moment of we don't know who's going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, you just look at the Super Brew and how volatile that is every single week.
Yeah.
By the way, my granddad's beating me at the moment. Do you know how much that annoys me? But
your granddad who picked Wigan to win by 30 against Saints away on the first game of the season.
Yes. So, has it made the season more exciting? The fact that you genuinely go into a game, apart from if you're playing Leeds, not knowing if you're going to win or not.
The ideal in sport, for me, the ideal is you're going to get very entertaining games against pretty evenly matched sides. You'd think the home team would start off with, in our sport, a 4 to 6 point advantage on the scoreboard when they do the odds or whatever, and any outcomes possible. Mm-hmm. That to me is how our sport. That's the utopia of our sport. You might get the odd week where there's a blowout score, the odd week where there's a really close game or what have you. But you'd want an away team turning up. If they play at their peak, they will win against the home team. Unless the home team are playing at their peak, then the home team will win, and that's kind of what you'd want to see. An equal spread of talent, that sort of stuff. And I think we're moving a little bit more in that direction at the moment. Mm-hmm. The sad thing of it is we lose talent to the more affluent league out there in the NRL, but that has made it more exciting. Even though you probably could say Saints and Warrington are generally speaking a step ahead of everyone else so far this year from what we've all seen. They seem to have an extra gear so that when they are being played competitively, they can find that extra gear in the last 10 minutes and win games. But the candidates for going down, Leeds are at the bottom now.
Yep.
Then we've got London, who are on a losing run as it stands. We've got Huddersfield and Wigan, who are the other two teams on 6 points, only 2 points above the Leeds Rhinos. Mm-hmm. You've got Hull Kingston Rovers and Salford, who are on 8 points. Salford are on a big losing run.
Are those 4 in a row?
Yeah, they have, yeah. So I would say you're probably looking at those teams, aren't you? You're probably thinking Hull FC somehow above that group, even though they've maybe had some of the worst performance of the year. You still think they're probably above that group. And the Wakefield Trinity side probably just above that group as well. But so we're talking half the table are in the conversation for relegation.
Which is exactly what you want.
Yeah.
So how surprised that you are you at that table?
I expect Leeds and Wigan to find some sort of form. Mm-hmm. So I expect them to be more in the conversation of only being a couple of wins off the top 5 rather than being in the bottom 4. Huddersfield surprised me a little bit, but we shouldn't be surprised by Huddersfield having bad starts to seasons. And London, the surprise is that they won 3 of their first 5 games, wasn't it, really, or 6 games, rather than the other way around. I still think London will be the team that get relegated, and I'm finding it hard week on week to predict someone else above them. What about you?
Yeah, we're a third of the way through season, which seems a lot, but the season gets more tough as you go along. You've got Easter, and then you've got the midway. I mean, think of Salford, was it last year? They did really well at the start, and then the depth of the squad just went through, and you've got to have a look at, if you've not got a big money backer, if you've not got a deep squad, at the back end of the season you could be losing 4 or 5 in a row. Well, yeah,
you see that with Salford at the moment. They've had a few injuries and they've not been able to train with their full squad, and Ian Watson's talked about that being a problem, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And so they're on a losing run. Yeah, I do think the bigger clubs have to be, the bigger clubs, the better attended clubs that are down there in those teams we mentioned, have to be wary of what's around them, because you can't afford to be complacent this year. That's the exciting part.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, whoever's bottom is going down. There's no bottom place playoff. There's no, if you are bottom, you are going down. So we could see some emergency player buys. We could see some budget set aside. We could see some players let go, and that cap being spent somewhere else. Look. Bring in a Jackson Hastings, like Salford sort of thing.
Or a Stuart Field and like Wigan did all them years ago, and